This is the Average to Savage podcast with Paul Guarino. Everyone and anyone, athletes, celebs, and much more.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Average Savage podcast. Our special guest today is Sammy Arriaga. Sammy, how's it going?
Chilling, man. Just hanging out with PG himself.
Yeah, appreciate you coming on. I know we've been talking about this for pretty much months now at this point. Just wanted to get this started. Just tell me a little bit about your background and how you got into music.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of people don't know this, but my whole family's from the island of Cuba. Spanish is actually my first language, believe it or not. I grew up speaking Spanish with both my mom and my grandma. Was raised with two strong Hispanic women. But I would see my dad every other weekend, and the relationship was healthy there. But it was a lot of like back and forth between English and Spanish, so I was able to keep both languages strong, thankfully. It helped me out greatly in the long run, for sure. But being raised in Miami, the culture was definitely all over the place, because, as you know, Miami is a huge melting pot of all different cultures, Latinos, Europeans, Americans, etc. But yeah, man, I come from a Hispanic background. I do country music now. A little bit of people ask all the time why I do country if I'm Cuban, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that topic.
Yeah, so I mean that is my next question. So you grew up in Miami and you're Cuban. How did you become a country artist?
It's wild because, my dad would always tell me that I had a good voice, growing up. He would hear me singing down the halls or singing in the shower or singing in the car. And he'd be like, have you ever thought about taking vocal lessons, doing any of these TV shows like American Idol, The Voice, X Factor. And one day I was like, you know what, let's do it. Let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens. So I started doing all these TV shows, and, thankfully in 2011, I made it all the way to Hollywood on I believe it was like the 10th season of American Idol. It was the year of Scotty McCreery and Lauren Elena. I don't know if you recall, but I auditioned in Hollywood for the judges. It was J-Lo, Randy Jackson, and Steven Tyler at the time. I unfortunately didn't make it past Hollywood, but the genre that I ended up going with was country music, because on American Idol, there's been a lot of great success out of the country music genre. And so my dad is like, hey, listen, you're Latino and country music is the biggest genre on American Idol so far, based on like success after the show. Why don't you just give it a shot and be like the Latino country singer? And so that was my mentality going into these auditions. And, although it didn't pan out the way we planned, I still fell in love with the genre. I still continued studying the history of country music and fully immersed myself into the genre, learned a bunch of music, wrote my own songs, until one day I packed up my bags and moved to Nashville. And that was the start of my Nashville journey. I've been here now for 12 years doing the dang thing, and discovered Web3 late last year and been doing NFT music ever since. So pretty much how I got into country music.
Yeah, no, every time I tell one of my friends about you and I tell them you're a Cuban country singer, they're always like, wait, what? So
Yeah.
that already, like you said, like that, that gets a conversation started. And just tell me about, obviously, I think people don't realize that, like being an artist is pretty much being an entrepreneur. It's the same thing. So what has that journey been like for you? I know, like you said, you moved from Miami to Nashville, and you've been there for, what, you said like 10 years now?
Yeah, I'm going on my 11th year, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. So what has that journey just been like for you as an artist, creating songs and music, and obviously pumping your own self and things like that?
Yeah. It's definitely a fine line, because, at the end of the day, we all just want to do art. We all just want to write songs, sing, tour, do the fun stuff. But, as time goes on, especially the life of an independent artist, we wear a lot of hats. And that's a plug for PG hats. But yeah, we wear a lot of different hats. I tell my friends all the time that I'm a marketing director. I am a social media manager. I am a songwriter. I'm a producer. I am a cinematographer. I do like so many things. But at the end of the day, I love it because I orchestrate my canvas. I paint my own canvas. You know what I'm saying? I'm orchestrating whatever the people are hearing and enjoying on a daily basis. So if anything, that adds more authenticity to the art itself, knowing that, the fan knowing that the artist had way more, to do with the creation of the project rather than having so many different people do it. You know what I mean? But there is no right or wrong way. That's just the way that I've decided to do it. I love to be very hands-on with everything I do. Moving to Nashville, I learned that it's like touring is a beast of its own. It's very difficult to find the band, to stay organized, to stay healthy, most importantly. Music is a lot harder than people think. But I'm very blessed to be, given a gift from God, to give back to the planet. And, even after all the years of roller coasters, I still very much love what I do. And, now with blockchain technology, like it's just reigniting me, like as if I just bought my first guitar and wrote my first song. So I'm just excited to see where it goes from here.
Yeah, no, that's dope. And I know just like a lot of artists and things like that, just like, and I just don't see them like putting in work like you put in. So that's why it's like just in general when we connected, and I was just like, I like Sammy knows, like he understands like business, and you got to actually do stuff for yourself too. Because some people just make music and think it's gonna like blow up and do it.
Magically, yeah.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, this song's great.
Yeah.
It's gonna go out there. But yeah, no,
Mm-hmm.
it's been dope. Just connecting with you in general, and yeah, I know you signed with Sony Music or Sony Publishing. When was that, and what was that feeling like?
It was awesome. I'll tell you how that all happened. I actually had a writing camp at the Gibson headquarters in Beverly Hills, which I believe it's not there anymore. I'm not very sure. I haven't been there in a while, but they were hosting a writing camp for Latin artists. So it was a Spanish-driven camp. I was booked by BMI, which I was with at the time. It's a PRO company. They're in charge of like distributing royalties and whatnot, but they also facilitate like writing sessions and writing camps like that one. So I was very blessed to attend it and work with a bunch of other incredible artists and songwriters. And then at the end of the camp, we did like a little showcase where everybody that was part of the writing camp would perform the songs. And so I was one of the selected from the camp to perform. And in the audience was a manager. He runs this company called Latium Entertainment. He heard me and he's like, "Hey man, I really love what you do. I love your vision. I work predominantly with Hispanic artists. No matter what genre they do, I just like the fact that they come from a Latin descent. And you, my friend, are Cuban and are very talented. And I think you'd be a perfect fit for our company." So I was like, all right, let's give it a shot, So at the time I didn't have a manager, I didn't have a label or nothing. So I just said, YOLO, I don't got anything fun going on, so let's try it. So believe it or not, within the month of signing with the company, I got a publishing deal in 2015 with Sony ATV out of New York City. They are actually the largest publishing company in the world, which could be a good or bad thing. Let's just leave it at that. And then a couple of years, I believe a year and a half later, I signed with Sony Music Nashville, which is the record label out of Nashville. So they're two different things. Sony ATV is for songwriting. Sony Music is for like as an artist, like releasing music on the radio and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, that all went down like really quick. Almost too quick to the point that I wasn't able to actually establish like strong relationships and friendships with these people that I'm signing my life away to.
Yeah.
And it was almost too fast because, I would like share my vision and share my songs and, there wasn't an initial foundation there. You know what I mean? Like they weren't fully invested. So they were all just very confused. It was very hard to make any like the executive decisions on releases. And then it just got really muddy. But But thankfully I was let go by the label in 2017. And then right as soon as that happened, I've been releasing independently on Spotify and Apple Music and TikTok and all that stuff ever since. And, you know, honestly, I'm just very thankful to even say this, is that I've seen most of my success post being released by Sony, just being independent, and, you know, the fan knowing that what they're getting from me is from me, not from a company. So my experience, you know, it had to happen because it's part of the roller coaster. It's made me appreciate a lot of things and, you know, grow my rhino skin in the music industry. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thankful that it all happened, you know, and I'm still figuring out a few things when it comes to those deals. But, you know, again, coming back to Web3 and, you know, music NFTs, I truly think that this is about to like reform the entire music industry, and I'm just happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, and then what would you say was your big break, and like what was it like to like hear one of your songs maybe like on the radio for the first time? I don't even know if that's like a thing now, like nowadays.
You know, I'll tell you this: I've never had a breakthrough song on the radio. I've been on digital radio, like satellite radio. I mean, on Sirius XM. I've had a few songs of mine be broadcasted on those stations, and it's been awesome. You know, like it was an awesome moment to be able to call my dad and be like, we're on the radio. And, you know, I had another moment where my hometown station played one of my original songs as well. And that was an extremely humbling moment for me, you know, after years of listening to that radio station and working so hard to be on there. But I would say my biggest breakthrough was, I would say TikTok, believe it or not. I hate that you know, to bring up TikTok, but like, you know, they've done a lot of awesome things for my music career when it comes to posting videos and, you know, landing on the algorithm and my streams growing exponentially, you know, because everybody thinks of TikTok like the little kid app where everybody dances, but you know, people, you know, they underestimate the power of that app. You know, it's a very powerful tool for any creator to have. And I started diving in April of 2020, it's almost been 2 years since I started TikTok. And honestly, man, it's as dumb as it sounds, it literally changed my music career. It was insane. I mean, I've probably gained in the past 2 years about 3 million streams just from TikTok exposure. It's insane. I went from like having 3,000 or 4,000 Spotify followers to now having 33,000, which is very, very hard on Spotify to gain followers. Like it's so hard. People don't even know you can follow people on Spotify. But yeah, I mean, TikTok's changed the game for me. Instagram Reels has also changed the game for me, that, you know, they're stepping it up too. You know, you got Pinterest now doing the same thing with idea pins. I haven't really tapped into YouTube, believe it or not. I never really had a big breakthrough on YouTube. Never been a fan of long form videos myself. But yeah, man, that's pretty much it. I would say streaming is like my you know, my breakthrough. And then if we're talking about what's the most recent accomplishment, I would say, you know, the release of this Metagirl music NFT. You know, it's literally my biggest project that I think I've ever been a part of.
I was about to say, yeah, I think we're in your breakthrough right now.
Exactly. Yeah. I feel like the whole like TikTok thing is like a thing of the past now. Yeah. You know, even though kids are still using it and, you know, it's still pumping bags and it's still like, you know, changing people's lives left and right. I'm just in love with Web3 and the blockchain and, you know, what it's about to do to the music industry. I'm just really excited to see what happens.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then, yeah, how did you get into NFTs? Because I don't even know if I really know.
You know, I got into it through a friend of mine in Miami. His PFP on Instagram was a crypto mori. For those of you who don't know, it's a crypto mori it's an NFT collection. Another one that's doing really, really well. My buddy happened to be a collector of a crypto mori. And it was his PFP. And I was like, dude, that's dope. What is that? Like, is that a cartoon? And he's like, well, yeah, it's an animation, but it's a collection in Web3 called the Crypto Mores. Have you ever bought an NFT before? And I was like, I don't know what that is. Like, I'm down to grab coffee and just talk it through. And he gave me the spiel, the 101, and I loved it. I thought it was dope. I've always been a fan of animation and art. So I was like, screw it. I got some money lying around, it made sense to me. So I started diving into these projects, into these communities by acquiring some of these awesome pieces of art. Some of them being the Crypto Mores, the humanoids, the apocalyptic apes, and a few other ones as well. And, I didn't come in with the idea of promoting music. I came in with the idea of just learning what NFTs are and being part of these awesome communities. And for the past 3-4 months, that's just kind of been my mentality of just of organically growing my supporters and my fans by not necessarily having a project, just being part of another community and meeting people and just being genuine and just being friendly with one another. So then that led to the creation of my music NFT, coming out of the blue and being able to say, hey guys, believe it or not, I just dropped my first music NFT. I would love for you guys to check it out. It was almost like a stealth drop. And everybody's like, yo, like, that's crazy. I didn't even know you had a project. I'm there, So that's kind of how I landed on NFTs, man. It was just like through a best friend from back home. And now we're in it the entire day. Like, so the second I wake up to the second I go to bed. So
yeah, it's definitely been a crazy journey. Me and you obviously met on Twitter Spaces and linked up, and it's pretty funny, just like all the stuff that's happened. Me and you just texting like, "Yo, you see this? You see that? You see this?"
yeah,
It's just been a wild
always
ride.
ongoing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely dope and interesting and new, and obviously exciting to see what goes on in the future. And obviously, I don't know how many artists are in the NFT space, like music wise, but I'm assuming you got to be like at least like the first, like, I don't even know, 50 maybe something. They got to be super slim right now, right?
Yeah, it's extremely slim, and I feel it's because, people are still figuring out the legality and just like
Yeah.
the way to go about it. There's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes when it comes to the usage of music and copyright and publishing and master ownership and, songwriter splits. And there's just so much that goes into it. But the way that I approached Metagirl is, I work pretty regularly with my producer. We're pretty, we have a really cool little thing going on where I'll just like write an idea and I'll send it to him and he'll produce something up within like the day that I send it to him. We just have a really good momentum going on. And so, I told him that I'm like, yo, like, I'm getting into NFTs. I love the whole vibe of it. How should we go about it? And he's like, look, the more writers we get involved, the more companies we get involved, the more producers and other people we get involved, it's going to be harder. Yeah. So why don't we just produce something and write something, just you and I, me and my producer, and then just release that and just test the waters and see what happens. So Metagirl was literally just a product of me and my producer and, a few, teammates that helped along the way with like mastering and engineering and all that stuff, to kind of polish up the track. But aside from that, it's pretty much a handshake deal. And just being very, very true and honest with your collaborators. And the result was a success. You know what I'm saying? So, now I'm very blessed to say that my producer has probably made more on this one NFT drop than he's made in the last 10, like maybe 2 years with some of the other independent music drops he's done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the math could be different. I'm just, talking,
no, for sure.
talking randomly here, but yeah, I mean, it's putting the ownership back into the creator's hands. And it's allowing the creator and the musician, the artist, to be compensated for their craft, in a much better way than Web 2 has, for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think for those people that don't know, you guys get like a small percentage of royalties for streaming and all that. Because even actually when I had Nelly on, he had no idea how much like per stream or how much he was making off streaming. So
Yeah.
that was pretty interesting, especially like, a known big huge artist like that, and he didn't even know where how this streaming works or the revenue.
Yeah, man, it's insane. I mean, like I'll tell you this, like I'll kind of give it to you right now. I mean, on Amazon Music, it takes 250 streams to make $1.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Now on Apple Music, 128, Tidal 78, Napster 53, Deezer 156, Pandora 752,
Jeez.
YouTube Music 1250, Spotify 315.
That's crazy.
It takes 315 streams to make $1 on Spotify.
Yeah, that's wild.
And another thing that people don't know is that if somebody doesn't listen to a song until the 30-second mark, the song won't monetize.
Yeah.
So they have to listen to the song up to 30 seconds to then qualify for that one stream.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, I feel like that makes sense.
Insane. Because most people just like hit next, you know?
Yeah. All right, so pivoting back to Metagirl, what was that process like when you were writing it, and how did you? For those that don't know, it's like really dope. If you don't know Web3, you probably might not know the terminology. So that's why I think it's also dope too, because it's almost like a secret code, like it's almost like a secret society type thing. You have to know.
Mm-hmm.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was a kind of a struggle at first, but because, there's a lot of words that I wasn't very familiar with. But with being in, Twitter Spaces, which is kind of like the reimagination of Clubhouse, but via Twitter, I pretty much was able to pick up on a few words here and there. And, I like to write songs from a guitar lick, a melody, and then I insert the words into the melody. So then I start finding these cool words, these Web3 related terms, and just start inserting them in melodies. And then I kind of expand out, I would, of course, like there's a lot of words that just don't sound cool in a song. So I would just completely ignore them. But, and then there's times where I'll take a word and I'll just kind of warp it so it could actually sound cool in a song. But the ultimate goal was to write a song for the Web3 audience that I was surrounding myself with on a daily basis, singing back to them the words that they use on a daily basis, just a field that they're familiar with, knowing that would open up their heart because I was singing back to them something that they connect with. And so I feel like that's the true reasoning why Metagirl has done what it's done, is because Metagirl was born from the community. You know what I mean? Like they fueled the idea for Metagirl. They planted that seed of inspiration in my mind to even write a Web3 love song. So then I went out of my way and said, all right, you guys want a Web3 song? Well, here it is. And so I was just blessed that Metagirl was the song that, God put in my head in that very moment. And, now here we are. So.
Yeah, no, and the song is fire. If you guys don't know, it's exclusively on the blockchain now, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it was on Web2 for a second, but I took it down as a form of respect for the NFT purchaser. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't want anybody to be like, why would I go and buy an NFT when I could just go to Web2 and listen to it? Yeah. So you know what I did? I cut that off. That's not an option anymore. So now the only way to hear it is on the blockchain and, from the luxury of your wallet once you buy the NFT.
Yeah, for sure. And I know you got some other songs coming up. I know you got Pixelated. I know everyone's waiting for that release. So what has that process been like writing that? And I know you're making NFTs for that one too, right?
Yeah. That's going to be the next music NFT that we're doing. It's going to be the follow-up to Metagirl. We got some really cool ideas up our sleeves for that one as well. Of course, the art is going to be pixel art. I mean, based on the title. We're thinking about, you know, making it a generative PFP collection as well, so that people can start rocking those PFPs on Twitter. You know, with the PFP culture being so hot right now, you know, we wanted to kind of take advantage of that as well. But yeah, I mean, I wrote the song here in Nashville with a few friends of mine, with, again, Web3 in mind. And, you know, I had a note in my phone with some words and some phrases that I think would sound cool in a song, you know, like that I heard in some Twitter spaces, and just put melody to it, and Pixelated was born. And I've been singing it in Twitter spaces the same way I did with Metagirl, and it seems to be organically growing the same way that Metagirl did. And so I'm just really stoked to finally finish that one in the studio. We cut vocals the other day, and I'm just waiting for the production to be done with that. And yeah, I mean, that one should be hot and ready to go as an NFT. I'd say middle to late April, maybe early May. My birthday is the first week of May, so ideally it would be dope to do it that week, because then people are gonna have to buy it because it's my birthday.
Yo, that's exactly what I was just thinking, because my designer been late and my birthday is April, and I was like, yeah, I'm about to just release it in April and on my birthday.
Yeah, exactly. There you
Same
go.
thing. You want to give us a little preview of Pixelated?
Yes, absolutely. So this song Pixelated is pretty much about digital love and physical love are both love. You know, whatever you feel, that's, you know, you're totally entitled to that. So love comes in many different shapes and sizes and forms, and even in pixels. So this is Pixelated. 3, 2, 1, we leave from the universe. We ain't ever coming back down to the earth. If we were in a video game, I'd give you my last life. No, I'm never looking away at your one-on-one design. Ooh, let's take a spin around the blockchain, fire up a new flame. Ooh, and take it to a new domain. 3, 2, 1, we leave in the universe. We ain't ever coming back down to the earth. There's no way that we could fake it, even when it's pixelated. So out of touch with reality, but that will never change what it do to me. I can feel the love we're making, even when it's pixelated. Baby, it's a picture your face, and I go out. I always put you on display when I'm hanging around some digital crowd. Ooh, let's take a spin around the blockchain, show them what we made. Ooh, put me in a brand new place, yeah. 3, 2, 1, we leave in the universe. We ain't ever coming back down to the earth. There's no way that we could fake it, even when it's pixelated. So out of touch with reality, but that will never change what it do to me. I can feel the love we're making, even when it's pixelated. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can feel the love we're making, even when it's pixelated. Yeah. Yes, sir.
There we go. We just made history. That was the first full song live on Average to Savage. Sammy made history, and he's making
Let's
history and history and
go.
history. So it's lit. All right. Well, I appreciate that. A couple more, and then we'll wrap things up. What are your future goals for
Great.
this year?
Future goals, to focus more on my mental health and focus more on balance in life. I feel like I overwork myself, and I don't know when to just draw the line and, you know, take a step back from what I'm passionate from. I get very excited about things, you know, especially like something like the blockchain and Web3, you know, it's a brand new thing. So it's very easy to fall in love with something and not let it go, you know. We get very caught up in all this stuff. And as I'm sure you know, Paul, like we spent hours on end on these spaces, and, you know, we just feel that FOMO, you know, and it's a real thing. And we just got to learn when to take a step back and meditate, drink water, exercise, and focus on our body, because without our bodies, none of this would be possible, right? So that's honestly my biggest future goal. And then, you know, another future goal of mine is to really hone in on the power of community, because I've never had one like the one I have now. So I want to do everything in my power to strengthen that, and, you know, not make it where it's just like, here's my music, okay, bye. You know, I feel like that's what Web2 felt like to me. I never got a chance to, you know, make it a village. You know, it was just a bunch of listeners, but it's not a village. So my goal is to turn my community into a village of people that I could actually count on and rely on whenever I do anything in my music career. And just embrace them. You know what I mean? Because again, without them, I would be nothing. I would be irrelevant. So it goes both ways. So yeah, mental health, physical health, power of community.
Yeah, yeah. Even on the weekends now, I've just been like, all right, I gotta get off Twitter Spaces sometimes and just chill out for a second.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
what advice would you give to a young artist?
Ooh, that's a broad question. I would say do everything, like be prepared to get the no's and be grateful for them, because every time you get a no, your rhino skin gets stronger. You know what I'm saying? Um, you tend to appreciate the wins more when there's more no's behind. I mean, I'm sure you've heard this a million times, but, you know, wasn't Michael Jordan not accepted into the high school basketball team?
Yeah.
There you go. Like, you know, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, Walt Disney, like he pitched his idea of Mickey Mouse to tons of publishers and nobody believed in him, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just, it's about appreciating the failures to, you know, because they're only going to allow you to appreciate the accomplishments and the wins even more. And show up, you know, that's like one of the biggest things they told me when I first got to Nashville is show up, like just, you know, try to pull up to every event, every performance, every meeting. Don't be late, you know, always ask questions, and, you know, persistence is key, and the squeaky wheel always wins the grease, you know? So it's about like constantly hitting it and not giving up, you know, and just be relentless, you know, you got to keep that perseverance high, because, you know, along the way, for example, like I was known to be very persistent when I first got to Nashville, and a lot of people didn't like that, but it only made me more aware of the people that believed in what I was doing.
Yeah.
So they did me a favor of showing me that they were annoyed by my persistence. So I cut them out. I'm like, okay, you don't vibe with what I'm doing, so next, you know?
Yeah.
So it's about learning how to cut out all the people that are going to slow you down, staying persistent, and, you know, keep your circles tight, and just stay close to those who believe in you, pretty much. So, and embrace them.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that's what fuels me, just all the rejection that I had. So it just like
Yeah,
all
protection.
prove people wrong, pretty much, type thing. But yes, last couple ones, fun questions, some speed ones. Who's your favorite singer?
Michael Bublé.
All right, I wasn't expecting that. Uh,
Yeah.
what's your favorite song right now besides your own?
Anything Russ.
All right, I like that. You already know I'm a big Russ guy.
Yeah.
What's your favorite food?
Ooh. I love anything related to meatballs.
All right.
Yeah, like I love a good like Italian dish.
All right. Well, I got you.
There you
And
go. Yeah,
last one. I got you a pizza too. But last
yeah.
one. What is something people don't know about you?
They don't know that I used to be a Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh enthusiast. I used to be obsessed and go to tournaments and compete and collect. Um, yeah, I was diehard. I mean, I would literally go, I would run up and down the block looking for kids to beat in card duels.
Bro, imagine you making a song for Pokemon NFTs. That's all I'm gonna say.
We're manifesting it.
All right, Sammy. Well, I appreciate you coming on, and can you let the listeners know where they can follow you at?
You guys can follow me on Twitter, just Sammy Arriaga. I am on uh, the streaming platform still, although moving forward, I'm only releasing music on the blockchain. You can still hear some of my past releases on Spotify. Just search Sammy Arriaga. And the same thing goes for all the other platforms, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. But yeah, I'm mainly on Twitter, and I'm always hanging out there in Twitter spaces. So come say hello and let's be friends.